Hey. Hey, thank you guys for joining Life, Love, and Lyrics. I'm so happy you guys can be here with me today. You get to spend 1 hour with me and the lovely, beautiful, talented Antea Birchett. I will be bringing her on in just a second. Hey, what's going on, Felix? Thanks for joining us. Hey! I had to like triple horn.
What's good?
What's going on, Antea?
I know, long time no see. You been all right?
Yeah, it's been a long time. This is actually the first time we actually got to converse face to face.
It's been probably what, a decade?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I've known of you and your work for probably since you started back in when you guys really came onto the scene in 2005.
Yep.
So I'm really happy that you're here. This is like a blessing.
Well, I am happy to be here. Truly. I appreciate the invite.
For those of you just joining us, welcome to Life, Love, and Lyrics. I'm here with the lovely, the talented, born and raised. Hey. Singer, songwriter, and a Grammy Award winner, Antea Birchett. She has penned some of the hottest songs on the R&B, pop, and gospel charts. Okay, hold on. Charts. So Antea had signed back with Ronnie Darkchild Jerkins back in 2005, along with her sister Anisha Birchett, also a phenomenal singer-songwriter. And also, I gotta give a huge congrats to Angela Birchett for starring in the Clark Sister movie on Lifetime.
That's right.
Playing Jackie Clark Chisholm.
That's right.
Yes. You guys are like to me, and I don't care if people throw tomatoes, you guys are like the modern day Clark Sisters to me.
Yes, and so we've heard over and over.
Yeah. Oh, good. So I'm not the only one.
No, got it all.
Okay, good. All right. So, for those of you who don't know, Antea and Anisha together collectively are A+, and they have penned some greatest songs for Beyonce, J.Lo, Mary J. Blige, H.E.R, Tiana Taylor, Justin Bieber, American Idol, Candace Glover, Tamia, Canadian Tamia. She's from Canada. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah. Also Justin Bieber.
Right.
And you've also had a chance to pen a lot of songs, 2 songs on the TV show, Fox TV show Star.
We actually did 4 or 5 on there.
Oh, dope. Okay. Look at that. Oh, you did? Double bombs. Awesome.
Yep.
And of course, recently the album that earned you, Antea, the Grammy for H.E.R, Volume 2.
Right. Best R&B album. Beautiful.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How did that feel?
I don't know. I'm never able to answer this question in real life. I mean, it's kind of one of those things you're like, ooh, one day I'm gonna win a Grammy. Then you do it, and you're like, okay, now what's next? You know?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it was amazing to be involved in such a phenomenal project with such a talented girl.
Right.
So that was the
very
big thing
talented
for us. She's just so amazing. So to be able to work with somebody that is that naturally talented and plays so many instruments and writes and all that.
Yeah. Dope. Yeah. And I mean, you've been in the game for a long time, since 2005, and probably even working your way up towards that big deal. And just recently you won this Grammy, like 2009.
2019, yeah.
Oh, sorry, 2019. Way off. 2019. That's what I meant to say. I got the 9 in there, but my math threw me off. Yeah. So it's just to show, like, look how long you've like, look how long and hard you both have worked. And just recently, you guys kind of snagged that Grammy.
Yep.
Did you feel like it was kind of long overdue? Do you feel like there were other projects that you felt deserved that Grammy win, or like what are your thoughts on it? Because I know the industry can be very finicky that way, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, you know, as a writer, you have your favorite songs. You know, you
Yeah.
have things that you're really married to that, you know, feel like should be a #1 single, and then it's a B-side, never makes it off the album, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So in the position that we've always been in, you never really know. You know, you just kind of, you know, put your gift out there, write a song, and then see what flies. Because you never know what
Right.
people will gravitate towards. Just because I love something doesn't mean somebody else will love it. So.
Right. It's very subjective.
Very.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll definitely talk about that because I think that's also important. So maybe tell everyone, for those who are just learning about you, how did you get started? And of course, I have to credit Anisha because you guys were a duo coming into the game, but we're talking with you, so maybe you can talk about how you got started, or both got started, kind of into the industry as songwriters and singers.
Well, Anisha and I are sisters, if you missed that part. And we come from a music family. So me, Anisha, and my sister sang together as a group. It just kind of branched off from there. My older sister went away to college, Angela did, and then she started writing together. So we did work with Mike Winans Jr. in Detroit and some other producers that were there. So we started really professionally trying to dig into the music industry, probably early 2000s.
Okay.
And from there, we connected into the industry through one of the producers there. Chip Dixon was a producer there, and he was playing at a service that Rodney was at. Rodney said he was looking for some people in Detroit, and Chip was like, I don't know who you're looking for, but I know this girl, Anisha, and because he was looking for a singer. And that introduction happened where Anisha was singing a couple days over the phone. Then he asked her to send some music, and he was like, you wrote this? And she was like, yeah, me and my sister. And he was like, okay, I'm going to sign you as an artist, but I want to sign y'all as writers. And it just kind of, from there, was where it happened.
Snowball. Yeah.
Signed to Rodney, moved out to the East Coast, and just, that was it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you've been very busy and active in the music scene. You know, you come from a background of education. And I think that kind of also probably gave you a lot of strong foundation as a musician, as a teacher, as a coach, as a businesswoman. And how does your education background apply to the music industry? And how did it help you through your journey?
Well, I started off. This is a part of my story that a lot of people don't know. When I graduated from high school in Detroit, I received a full ride to Wayne State University to study opera.
Right.
And I got 6 semesters in and lost my voice. So
oh, wow.
They took the scholarship from me, and I had to change my major. And the major that I wanted to change to, I basically was going to be starting all the way over again. So, of course, at 20 years old, I was super defeated and was like, okay, I just need to figure this out. So I started doing vocal therapy and research on my own to figure out what happened. Like, why could I not sing anymore? And all of that research and self-study, as well as the things that I learned while studying opera in college, started me with small vocal training. And I was 20 years old. So I would start working with some of my friends, like, oh, I learned this, you should try this, learning different techniques. And that's how I started being a trainer, just by my own experience of losing my voice. And 19 years later, 20 years later, I'm still teaching voice. But as far as in the music industry, anytime that there's an artist and we have a section or somebody's sports or whatever, I'm always able to help any singer through whatever happened in the session, no matter how A-list they are or if they're a beginner, just because of the years of studying the human voice and how all of it works, So.
Right. Okay, dope. So you also, and I don't know if you're still involved in this, but you were you were kind of involved in DIME, the Detroit Institute of Music Education.
Yes.
And are you still involved in that?
No, I moved to Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta now.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but I was at DIME for 5 years. I was the head of the songwriting and voice department there. So I spent 5 years in the midst of all of this, being a college professor and writing coursework, and it was awesome. It was a great experience. It really was.
That's big. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to stand in front of a class and to teach. It commands a lot of especially college, because you relate to them. You relate to them in age, right? And you want them to be able to relate to you and be able to trust what you're delivering.
Right.
You know?
And the type of institute that it was is for people trying to get into the music industry. So it's not just, it wasn't a traditional college. It was for, songwriters and music business and all that. So that was the reason why it was a good fit for me, because I was able to bring all of my industry experience, all of my songwriting, voice experience to be able to teach at college level. So it was really cool. It was a cool experience for me.
And we're going to talk more about What I Know, which is something that you are working on currently. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So in terms of like the songwriting aspect of it, you guys, like I said earlier, if you guys just joined us, we're with Antea Birchett, Grammy award-winning songwriter. You, both of you had kind of come in as writers. And so maybe just tell us a little bit about how you guys kind of started with your first placements, and what was your first placement, and what was that experience like?
It was a whirlwind, truly. We signed to Darkchild at the end of 2005, and by I want to say March of 2006, we were in the studio with Beyonce. So we were, I mean, when you talk about poster child for Wet Behind the Ears, we had no idea what we were doing, none of it, and we were in the room with Beyonce. So our very first, placement, or I would say session that led to a placement, was the backup on Beyonce on B-Day. That was
so that was like that's big, like for your just coming out your first song.
Can you imagine, like, we signed and we're like, oh my god, we don't know what we did, and then pack your bags, we're gonna go to New York for 3 weeks and work with Beyonce. Wait, what?
And it's not like it was like a slow climb. It was like bam, it wasn't even like a slow climb.
That was Rodney. You want to learn how to swim? I'm gonna shove you in the water now.
And if you guys don't know who Ronnie Darkchild Jerkins is, you guys have been under a rock for too long. Go Google this man. He is like a legend, icon. He's worked with everybody from Michael Jackson, Destiny's Child, Beyonce, Whitney, Britney, you name it. He's done it. Everybody under the sun. So having such a successful career, it must be very important to be like in a great space. And it takes a lot of dedication and focus to kind of achieve the highest version of yourself. And so how did you manage to be in that space? And maybe you can also let the viewers know how they can maybe share your best practice on how they can be in that space where they can achieve their highest, best self, if you will.
Boy, that's a loaded question. Because there are a lot of different aspects of the highest version of yourself. When you're talking just from a creative perspective, I tend to view it more as a practice. So the same way a basketball player hones their craft, and in any other field, it's about practicing the skill set. But then the difference is you have to be in a creative space a lot to be able to do it. I had gotten to the point as a songwriter where it didn't matter what mood I was in, I could write, because I have methods and devices that I use that no matter what, I will always finish a song. And it'll be a good song, you know what I'm saying? Just because I'm not a hobby songwriter, I'm a professional songwriter. So if I have a set and it's 8 hours long and they want to completely finish demo, you gotta write. It don't matter if you're inspired or not. So I learned over the years to do that, but I think what I'm about to say serves what I just said. I think it's easier to maintain that space of being creative when you actually are making sure that your day-to-day life, outside of being a musician or a creative, you're trying to attain a certain level of spirituality or mental health, emotional health, making sure that you're not giving so much of yourself away that when it's time for you to actually give of yourself creatively, you don't have anything left. And when I say giving yourself away, you know, it could be as something as simple as you're spending too much time on social media. And even though you may not be interacting with people, that can be emotionally draining. So now you've spent 3 hours scrolling Facebook and you have no idea why you're depressed. So now it's time to write and you got nothing because you've been, you know, so doing certain things to make sure that you have some sort of practice every day where you come back to ground zero and say, okay, this is about me. This is to make sure I'm okay, so that when it is time for me to be creative, you're not so worn out emotionally that you got nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Wow.
That would be my best advice.
Okay. And so, and tying into that, like, what were some of the distractions you had, especially coming so new into the game? What were the distractions you had, and how did you overcome those distractions? Because you guys came in relatively young, and at that age, you know, you're dating, you're kind of all over the place. You're still trying to figure things out. Like, how was that for you?
You know, so when I was younger, and I'm a woman that does not mind telling my age. I'll be 40 this year. So when I came in, I wasn't that young. I was 25. So I still,
okay.
I was in it a little, I wasn't a kid. Anisha was really like 18 or 19. So
okay.
But for me, coming into a major industry like this at 25, where I was dating and kind of feeling myself out, a lot of the kind of situations I got myself into actually helped inspire what was going on around me. So I wouldn't say it was distractions. It helped. Now, I will say something that was a distraction was when you started running out of money, and then you can't eat.
Right.
You gotta figure out how to pay a car note or whatever. That became a little bit distracting because it's hard to be creative and be in an inspired space when you're like, I don't have any food.
Right.
So
right.
that would I would say was the biggest one, just the lack of money just coming in. And we did, what I always encourage a lot of people to do. We jumped in. We jumped off that cliff. There was no savings account, none of that. It was like we believed in what we wanted to do. We believed that Dark Child was a good team, so we jumped. So we went into it without a whole lot, and we had some struggle times.
I'm sure.
And it made it a little hard, but we got out on the other side of it. So
that's awesome. That's really good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And for those joining us, thank you for being a part of Life, Love, and Lyrics. We're with Antea Birchett, Grammy Award-winning songwriter. The Grammy that she received was for the H.E.R. album, Volume 2. And if you guys have any questions, I will get to them. Just leave them in the question box below. If you have a second, please share this live. This podcast is essentially here to inspire everybody in the community. How are you guys doing with the lockdown and stuff? Well, you're in Atlanta, right? But so how are you? I guess this gives you kind of more time to be creative, right?
No, to be honest,
no?
It's been interesting because I've been into a lot of things in my whole life. I've created some messes. I've had some victories. I've had some failures, but they've all been things I created, so I could figure out how to work my way through it. This is a different monster. I didn't have anything to do with this, and now I'm literally regrouping a lot of things because I moved to Atlanta I was vocal coaching Cynthia Erivo and the cast of the Nat Geo series Aretha, and production shut down. So I'm kind of here, I started a private studio here with in-person students. That got shut down, so everything is virtual now, which is beautiful that I've always been virtual. So all the co-writes and singing lessons, songwriting lessons, music consultations, I still do that online, but it's been difficult to kind of plant my feet every day with wrapping my head around what has happened, and what it means in 3 months, what it means in 6 months. I'm not one of those people that's like, you didn't start a business during the lockdown, you lazy. No, like I'm that guy where I'm like, today I got up, I cooked a meal, I smiled, I laughed a little bit because this is heavy. Like we are going through a worldwide pandemic. I mean, a historical moment that's going to change everything. And as a creative, I'm naturally an empath, so it has smacked me around a bit. Like it's been, just to be completely, transparent, this has been hard. It's been hard. We're locked inside. Like I'm a nature painting bike ride kind of girl, and I'm scared to go breathe air outside. What's happening? So,
No, that's
it's been rough. It's been rough. I haven't quite found my footing as far as songwriting. Because I've been spending a lot of time with Teach What I Know, training voices, doing songwriting lessons, music consultation. And that's been keeping me pushing forward. But to actually be in this space by myself and figuring out songwriting, it's different. It's different.
And speaking of songwriting, how does someone get started as a songwriter? And for those who maybe are songwriters that don't necessarily have the vocal chops, so how does someone get started as a songwriter?
Well, in what way? Like how to write a song or how to like get songs out there?
Both. We can make that a two-part question because that was another question. How do you get that placement as an indie versus major? But yeah, I guess you can maybe tie those questions in together.
Yeah. Well, a shameless plug. If you're wanting to be a songwriter and you don't know how,
she's your girl.
I do songwriting lessons through my company, Teach What I Know.
Okay.
And I think that to me is the best way to get into a mentorship situation where if you are not exactly sure how to turn poems or melody or diary entries into songs, someone to teach you, give you devices and methods to use so you can actually form a song. As far as placing it, networking is important. You know, I mean, obviously right now we're stuck inside, so social media is your friend. You know, reaching out to producers that you know, other writers that you know. You know, there are so many live Instagram lives that are going on with so many music industry people that are live right in the room. You know what I mean? So everybody is at home right now, very touchable. So I say put yourself out there. You got records, you got a SoundCloud, you know, YouTube channel, hit people up, network, you know, and then when we're actually able to be in groups and things again, networking is your friend, you know. Even if you are not interested in doing the independent thing first is really the way to get yourself on, connecting to people who are connected to the industry. And if your music is dope and people messing with it, the doors are open. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Like even for songwriters, aspiring songwriters, or those trying to break in, how much of the demo or the raw version of the song that they have created really I think what I want to know is, like, for songwriters who have created a song, a demo copy, and it may not be the greatest production. Now, would you say that most producers or anyone that they're looking to break into the industry with, like, are they able to kind of hear the potential of the song? Like, what really makes a hit song?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It all depends on the type of music that you're doing, who you're shopping it to. And I think a lot of songwriters who are new don't really realize that you are competing against people who have been cutting demos for a decade. So it is basically, you know, there are some demos coming across an A&R manager's desk that are ready to be played on the radio as soon as it comes across the desk. So if you're sending a voice memo, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work. Now, if you're in a situation like where you're signed, like I'm signed to Universal, and if we, and the person who represents us there is Walt Jones. So if you know, Anisha has a melody idea, whatever, we can send that kind of raw stuff to him. But we are signed, so he knows us. We have a relationship. But just trying to get on, you are competing with people who have been doing this for 20 years. So they have the $1 million studio or the really dope home setup, and they know how to work it, and they cut the demos. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's one route, making sure that it's radio ready. Another route that to me is acceptable is a very raw song. So if you're a musician, you play the guitar, you play the piano, like creating the chords on the piano, chords on the guitar, and singing over that. You know what I'm saying? So to me, an acoustic demo works well. If you can't get a fully produced track, then you can really hear the idea of it, and it's acceptable to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dope. Oh, that's some really good feedback. Pretty Perez says, I've heard Esther Dean's demos where production sounded terrible, but the lyrics were beautiful, and sad they never made it. I guess that happens a lot, right? Where the production is not up to par.
Sometimes, you know, and I'm just going to keep it 100. Sometimes, you know, A&Rs are not musicians. So when they hear something, they need to hear it as close to whatever artist you're trying to shop it to. So while you may have really focused on lyrics and all that, whatever, if you got a A&R that's, you know, just new in the game, they looking for something that sounds radio ready, you may not appeal to them because it's not at that level. So you just have to be prepared for all of that. You know?
Right. Okay. So I'm just going to take one viewer question here. Reuters wants to know, how do you make time for a love life while building such a successful empire?
Why did I know this was coming? Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna say it like this. Those who know me know how I move, and that's really all I can say. So okay, let me not be that way. I make time for what I want to make time for. You know, I've been in and out of some relationships. I've been married. I've been divorced. You know, I've been around the mountain. You know what I mean? So but I do like companionship. But I am in a space now that's a little different than what it's been, and I'm trying to kind of regroup and rebuild and figure out what do I want. You know what I mean? Like what does it look like for me? But it still is a major player in my life because I'm a creative. I'm an empath. So of course I love love. Of course I love companionship. So you know, I make time for it. I go out, hang out. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
Got it.
That's all.
With that being said, what is your greatest love right now, Antea?
Say it again.
What is your greatest love?
What is my greatest love? Like, what do I love the most?
Yeah, like right now, in this space. In this space right now, what is your greatest love?
Me.
Oh, dope. Hold on. Say that one more time. What is your greatest love?
My greatest love is me.
And how can someone, because we hear that a lot, self-love, how does one work on that? How does one obtain that self-love? Because I think that's a very challenging thing, and we always look outwards for love. So how does one work on self?
It's a new thing for me, and it's a different answer for everybody. It just depends on what your life looks like and what's been stopping you from spending time with you.
Right.
And for me, I've long been a people pleaser. You know, I'm happy when everybody else is happy. That doesn't make sense. Like, okay, so for me, self-love was the word no. It was having that confrontational situation where, why you ain't calling me? Why? Because today,
it's not your day.
I wasn't busy, but I wanted to lay here and not text anybody and not talk to anybody and just lay here, you know, or maybe I was whatever, but it started with me understanding that I can't allow these outside forces to wear me down so much that I don't even know what's going on with me. I don't know if I don't feel good. I don't know if I'm unhappy. I don't know what I'm feeling. So it was a lot of shutting things down around me and just picking and choosing what I wanted to be bothered with. But always it being about what do I want.
Yes.
So that's why I'm dope. Right now where I'm like, I love me.
And so I guess the flip side to that, what is your biggest heartbreak?
Ooh. Okay, my biggest heartbreak happened last summer.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't want to get too much into that, but I lost a whole lot last year because I fell in love and moved away and had all these big dreams and goals, and it didn't do what I thought it was going to do. And I literally had to, I quit my job at the college, moved in with them in Chicago, and within 60 days, it blew up. And I lost everything. I didn't have a car. I was staying there. I was trying to rebuild. I was trying to teach what I know. And I had to get away. So I quickly left, went back to Detroit, regrouped, moved to Atlanta, and had to literally rebuild everything again. So it was a very strange year because I won the Grammy and I tried to build this relationship. And then it just blew up in my face and I had to start over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to start everything over at 38 years old, starting over again. I think that was my biggest heartbreak. And not so much because of the relationship, but because I knew better. And I broke my own heart. Like I knew throughout the process, like this ain't right.
That's deep.
This ain't the move.
You said I broke my own heart.
I broke my own heart. I did. I could blame them all day. But from day one, I was like, something ain't right about this. But that's
actually a really good song concept right there. I broke my own heart.
I did.
Get on that.
I mean,
get on that.
Like it's real life. Like I definitely I knew better, and all the people around me that loved me were like, yeah, I don't know about this one. But I think my ego and my own personal self-esteem issues made me chase after this thing that I wanted so bad. And it just, I literally, like, I didn't think I was going to make it out of 2019, but I did.
Wow.
I did.
You made it. You made it. Awesome. We got a question here. What artist did you write for during the Dark Child method that you feel didn't truly get the recognition or the exposure that it needed? That's a good question.
Yeah. So
because a lot of songs get shelved or they won't even see the light of day. So
there are two artists that come to mind just off bat, and I'm sure there are lots of others, but
yeah,
there is a young lady from Jersey named Natasha, who was an amazing singer, dancer. We did a record called Hey 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 on her, and I can't offhand think of the other song, and she was just awesome. And I was disappointed that it didn't really pull out like I thought it was gonna.
Right.
The other one is an artist named Unique, who lives in LA now, and I'm pretty sure he's still doing music, but he was another one that I was like, yo, he's got the goods. And it just, we wrote records and we hung out, and it didn't. Yeah, that's the other song, So Sick. Hey, 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 and So Sick. It just didn't pop like I really expected it to. So those are the two that, off the top of my head.
The top of your head. Okay, that's dope. Okay, we got another question from a viewer here. Who is your favorite artist that you've worked with if you had to choose one? That's tough because you've worked with a lot of heavy hitters.
I'm gonna have to say Teyana.
Yeah, okay, because she's a friend of yours, right?
Yeah,
outside of business,
like me, and her daughter's a Sagittarius. Her daughter was born on my birthday.
Oh wow!
And we've walked down some life changes with Teyana. And she's just a pleasure to be around. Like I just love her. I think she's a great girl. She's super talented. I think, this is a cliche thing to say, everybody says it, but she is grossly underrated. I really do think.
I was gonna seriously tie that in. Yeah.
She's epic. Ridiculous. Like she dances, she acts, she sings. She's
her tone. Her tone is just.
She's amazing, and she's just an all-around. To me, she's the kind of person that I always want to be in a room with because she's hilarious. Like she is she's great. So she's my favorite. Like I've had a couple trips to Miami working with her that were great. Lots of fun. She's great. Teyana is my fave.
Dope. What's one song you wish you wrote?
One song I wish I wrote. That's a good question.
And there's plenty, but it doesn't even have to be a hit song. Maybe it's personal to you, but I guess for those who might want to know.
I wish I wrote Overjoyed by Stevie Wonder.
Okay. Iconic song.
I wrote that record.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the lyricism of it, the melodies is ridiculous. I wish I wrote that song.
Okay. And which artist would you like to write for or write with? That you haven't already.
Stevie Wonder.
There you go.
In this order, it'd be Stevie Wonder, John Legend, and Sia.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah, Sia's a dope writer.
I know.
She's disgusting.
I feel like I might have one of them moments where I'm fangirling so bad because she's such a dope lyricist that I just be like, listen, I don't know, I can't help you, but thank you for the invite.
we got a lot of questions about some behind the scenes stuff. What do you think about Carrie Hilton's songwriting skills, as she was a songwriter before mainstream artist?
Yeah, she was a part of the Clutch. And she's amazing. All of them. Candace and Carrie and the other two. I can't think of their names, but they're dope. Like I think Carrie's amazing as a songwriter. Also an artist that I think was a bit underrated. You just never know what people are going to gravitate towards and what people will like, and you would think because she's such a great songwriter that it would have been a no-brainer. And but I love Carrie Hilton. I think she's great.
So, I know this is going to be a difficult question to answer. What would you say is your favorite lyrics of a song that stands out, that always strikes a chord, that always you like that line?
I don't know. I'm moody with music.
Yeah.
I'm moody, so it just depends on what's happening in the moment. Let me think. You know, one of my favorite songs is a song called "Show Me" by John Legend.
Okay.
And I like that record because it sounds like a love song, but it's actually a prayer. And when I first discovered it, I just sounded like, you know, a regular love song until I really dug into the lyrics and was like, oh my gosh, he's praying. And you add the chord progressions, which are simple chords, but you put the melody that he has over the top of it, and it's lovely. It's just, it feels good to play. It feels good to sing. The lyrics are great. Like, I love that record.
Okay, dope. Gotta take another question from a viewer. Felix is on it today. Give us the true story behind the Shantae Moore versus Jennifer Lopez, If You Had My Love.
I don't know what that is. What do you mean? What happened? You tell me.
That must be one of those like TMZ stories that, you know.
Yeah, I won't know that record. So, you know.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
So Felix is a huge J-Lo fan. What is it like working with J-Lo, and would you work with her again?
I absolutely would. Like, that was right after Teyana would be Jennifer.
Wow, okay.
Because we spent, oh my gosh, like we spent 2 years with her.
Yeah.
And it was because she was just going to put out like a greatest hits album. And then we started giving her so many great records. She decided that she wanted to like do a whole project. So we moved all around. We were in LA, we were in New York. We went up to her house in New York. That was probably the most fun because we were just in the process of signing Universal, or we had either signed already. I don't remember. And we went to her home. She had just had the twins. So we were there in her studio downstairs. One of her sisters was there, brought us some Spanish coffee. We sitting in the carpet playing with the babies. Mark Anthony rolls up on his motorcycle. He comes downstairs and he's sound checking her mic for us, singing our record. Like, we were just in heaven. And she's really a New Yorican. Like, she's super homegirl, super warm, touchy-feely, cuss like a sailor. Like, she's just, she was great. Like, it was awesome working with her. It was.
Yeah. Now, I want to get a little deeper. Maybe I want to talk about, because you grew up in a very a Christian home, a Christian background, and you and Anisha have written a lot of gospel songs.
Yep.
And how was that like coming into the secular industry, coming from a church background, and what kind of backlash or not did you receive, and how did you handle that?
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful. We didn't get a lot of backlash because we grew up Pentecostal. But, you know, being Pentecostal apostolic, generally that's very strict, but we were in a more progressive church in Detroit, Greater Grace, and they applauded us and celebrated us because of the success that had happened, and it recognized that God had blessed us. It wasn't some, you know, this is the devil, and it was never any of that kind of thing. So it wasn't a real big battle with the people who I grew up with at church, but there was some resistance in other areas, you know. Like I recall one of the things that broke me and Anisha's heart the most was I won't say the name of the label, but it was a more well-known gospel label, and we had placed at that point on Beyonce and Tamia and Bobby V, like it was already signed to Rodney, and we had took a meeting to get some records played, and the records were amazing. And the A&R basically was like, why y'all coming over here trying to get our money? I mean, you placing on why you trying to do gospel? And now we were like, are you serious? Like, we grew up in the church. We just started doing R&B and stuff. Like, gospel is our home. So I think if anything, that was the biggest letdown, where it started becoming very difficult to place gospel music, because it was like, why are you coming over here? You work for Beyonce. You don't need this little money. It's not about the money at all. Like, I gotta do records for you, dummy. Like, we would get so mad. Like, what is this? What are you doing? But outside of that, no, we didn't get much. I feel like I didn't get a lot of backlash. I don't know if Anisha has personal stories about it, but I didn't feel like we got a lot of resistance in that area.
Felix says, sorry, I love the music and all that. You don't have to apologize. I'm actually the same way, Felix. I love the background story of how things come together, which leads into my next question. How did Backup for Beyonce come together? Because it didn't appear. It didn't appear on the physical copy, or it did in certain, or maybe it was like a Target or whatever it was, probably.
Yep. Oh yeah, that the whole time was a lot of fun getting to know Beyonce and working with her.
Yeah.
But it felt very competitive.
Right.
And being brand new writers in the industry, that was hard.
Yeah.
So, you know, and we were there for 3 weeks at Sony Studios in New York. And it was a whole three week or month long writing camp. And it was a bunch of different writing camps there. And Darkchild was one of them. And it was one of those things where, you know, all of us were in the room, me and the other Anisha and the other writers, producers, Rodney, Shiz, Freddie, and then Beyonce would come in, Solange would come in, Beyonce's cousin would come in, and literally we would battle line by line, you know,
right.
and throw out lines, and it was stressful.
Yeah.
It was stressful, but I mean, Shiz wrote the majority of that record. And then me, Anisha, and Delisha got some lines on the song as well. But it was rough in the sense of we were new.
Yeah.
So you went from, you know, being in obscurity in Detroit to in a, you know, A-list songwriting camp with Beyonce.
Battlefield. Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God. Like it was stressful. But it was still
lots of pressure.
Oh my God. Listen.
Yeah.
It was rough.
I can imagine. What's your favorite quote? What's a quote that sticks out to you? Yes, also Big Chiz, man. Shout out to him. I know he's left us, and I know that's probably got to be really hard for you too, because not only were you guys a creative family, but you guys were a family.
Yeah, we were all very close, and my introduction into the music industry and how I learned to be a efficient songwriter was because of LaShawn.
He's so dope.
Yeah,
that guy's vocals.
So, but my favorite quote is from the poem Invictus. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. It's my favorite one. I'm gonna get it tattooed right here.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Do you have any other tattoos
at all?
These. Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's fitting.
Yeah.
That's fitting. Tell us a little bit about, talk about what I know.
Teach what I know.
Oh, sorry, teach what I know. I said talk about what I know. Talk about teach what I know. Tongue-tied.
The page that I'm alive on right now is Teach What I Know. It is my music education company. You can go to the website, teachwhatiknow.com. I offer voice lessons, songwriting lessons, music consultations, and co-writes. So there's a calendar there. The website is set up beautifully. Shout out to Bianca McQueen, who is my branding manager, who has helped me really work out the branding for this company. I know I've been a nightmare to her, but she helped me work it out so I could actually have the company up and running. But yeah, you can go to the website, click on book now, look at the services, and it's what I've been up to for quite a few years. I've been a private educator for a very long time, so I am good at what I do. And I see a few of my students in here. Shout out to all of y'all. Put a little something in the comments about your experience with me.
Yes, I did see a few up there. Yes.
Yeah, so calendar's open because we're all indoors, and you know, I would love to help.
Can we see your Grammy?
I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it.
We'll have to catch it next time. We got another question. As an artist, if your songs never make the radio air, in your opinion, is that not a good music career? I gotta make it smaller. What if you're just happy that you have, and it cuts off from there? I'm sorry, 822. It cuts off from there, but maybe you can answer the first part of the question.
So do you think that's if your song doesn't make it on the a good music career is totally subjective. It's about your goals and what it is you want to happen. So you know, if your goal is to have a career just like Beyonce, then okay, yeah, if your songs don't get on radio, you set yourself up. But you have to make a decision of what a good music career looks like to you. Is it meaning you're able to monetize your brand? Does it mean you're able to get live shows? Are you a background singer? Do you want a song on the radio? You know, so a good career is based on what you think a good career is. And if that is, I want to pay all my bills and live comfortably, then you have a good career, you know? Radio, at this day and age, radio is great. That's what we all would love that. But okay, it may not happen. But are you paying your bills? Are you able to go on vacation? Are you able to get gigs? Are you happy? Are you happy is a big one. Are you happy doing what you're doing? And if you are, you have a good career, period.
Right. So earlier you touched that you're an empath. I'm actually also an empath, and I discovered this within the last 2 years because I've been actually doing a lot of recovering and healing from narcissistic abuse.
Same. The last relationship was narcissistic. I'm going through narcissistic abuse PTSD, like with my therapist, trying to like back it down. And I didn't even realize. I didn't realize. I didn't know.
I'm 39. I'm 39. I just discovered this. I had actually Quinn Holliday, an amazing YouTuber who specializes in narcissistic abuse and narcissistic personality disorder.
Yeah.
And he's phenomenal. And actually, when I went through my healing process, it was a few people that I watched. It was Dr. Romany on YouTube. If you haven't checked her out, please do. She's phenomenal. And Quinn Holliday, which is Assc Direct on YouTube. And I literally watched like hundreds of videos like back to back because I was in this dark place and I couldn't understand. I was absorbing people's energies, people's emotions.
Really weird. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, it's a curse and a blessing. You know?
Because the thing is, first of all, narcissists prey on empaths.
Yeah,
and a little deeper with the narcissists, most of them don't know that they are. It's not a planned thing, but they become that way because they've had such childhood trauma and things, and they've created borders and safety nets for themselves that in them in this place where they have this abusive nature because they're afraid. They're afraid to get hurt. They're afraid to get left, whatever. But then they gravitate towards people that can absorb that energy and want to just love them. And because if you don't know what a narcissist is, you just get battered down.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. I got beat down to the point where I just broke. I broke and I packed and I ran because I was like, okay, I'm going crazy. I constantly gaslighted. It was just horrible.
The gaslighting is the worst. Yeah.
Because you don't know, you don't know. You don't know what's happening to you.
You can't identify, you can't articulate what it is because you just can't make sense of it, right? And you constantly keep justifying, you kind of ignore the red flags. You don't know what the red flags are. There's always that gray area. There's always that, are they going to change?
Right.
Is it always like
I love
maybe
them. I don't want to run away because if I love them, I'll stay. And then you end up just getting beat down. I just hit a wall where I was like, okay, I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And then later on, when I started talking my way through it with my therapist, she's like, yes, that was a narcissist and a gaslighter that you were dealing with. And even in the relationship, my therapist was trying to tell me, you're being gaslighted. And I'm like, no. Oh, no.
And you start gaslighting yourself. You become in denial. You gaslight yourself. Yeah.
Oh, Lord. But
listen, if you guys don't know anything about NPD, you guys need to really research that. If you don't know what that is, honestly, it really wakes you up. Do you have a drink with you? Sweet. Nice.
Of course.
All right. Now we're partying. So as an empath, like, how do you survive in an industry where it's predominantly a lot of them are narcissists? It's cutthroat, it requires a lot of healing, and I'm sure you probably put a lot of that empathy into your music as well, right? Mm-hmm. Angela's in the house. Hey, Angela. Hey. Angela Birchett, congrats on your role on the Clark Sisters movie. Great job. She was phenomenal in that. So going back to your question.
So when I was younger, I didn't realize I was an empath. So the way my dad raised us was to just be tough, be strong, So I had a really good roll-off game. I could just roll everything off and not think about it. As I got older, I started digesting things more, and I started realizing that the weight that I was carrying from all of this stuff was starting to slow me down. Because I couldn't hold on. I didn't know how to take it in and get rid of it. I was just, hearing people's stories and taking in people's and then holding it, grieving for people, mourning for people, and not knowing how to let it go. So back to what I was saying earlier, it's about saying no sometimes and getting, and if sometimes it takes me 3 days, 4 days to release, whatever I've taken in accidentally or on purpose, So it's a thing, but
boundaries.
Yeah, for sure. Boundaries.
That's dope. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comment box. We only have 10 minutes with the lovely Antea Birchett, Grammy Award-winning songwriter. It's really comforting to know that even the best of us can be vulnerable to these kinds of battles. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's also great that you're able to put that into music. Now, when you write your music, and I wanted to make sure that we can get enough in. So when you're writing your music, is it predominantly like you and Anisha or yourself write based on your personal experience and journeys, or is it more like you write with the artist in that session? Like, how does that process work for you guys?
It's various ways. There have been some songs that we've put out that were very specific to our situations. And then there are other songs that are about the artist who we're working with. So like when we did Sorry on Teyana, that's about her life. You know, we sat and talked to her for an hour or so about everything that was going on, and then wrote a song about it. Same thing with the J-Lo record. You know, she wanted to do a kind of expose on all the dudes she had dated and take very specific things from all those relationships and write a song about it. So we did. But then records that we've put out, like the record Thank You, is a heartbreak about something that Anisha went through. The one that Candace did.
Candace Glover, yep.
Yeah. And then
from American Idol, if you guys don't know. Yeah.
Right. And then the album that Anisha and I put out in 2018 called Pride, Liberty, Detroit, there are quite a few records on there that are personal songs.
I downloaded it. I got it. I'm supporting.
Thank you.
What did you do when you noticed triggers for trauma? I love how the questions are coming in now, but we got 9 minutes of the show. I don't want to go over because I want to be respectful of Antea's time, but what do you do when you notice triggers for trauma? We're going to make these like rapid questions now all of a sudden.
Yeah, so I ask myself questions.
Yeah.
If I feel like I'm about to have a panic attack or I feel like I'm getting sad, I stop and say, what were you just thinking about? You know, what were you watching? What happened? What happened an hour ago that you didn't address? What did you go to bed mad about last night? And I ask levels of questions to back myself down, and it usually helps me figure out what triggered me, and then I know what to avoid. You know?
Yeah. You have to go within and start asking yourself the questions.
Yes.
What's a song that you wrote for an artist that never made it but wish you did? Wish you did.
Hooked on You, J-Lo.
Hooked on. Okay.
Chase the Wind, Adrian Bylon. Jeez.
You guys don't understand her catalog. I couldn't even fit all of them into my IG post. So
there are songs where where the artists cut them and everything, and then it's like, but you're not gonna put it out? No.
Yeah. What's your favorite song that you've written that made it to an album?
Probably
I guess rather than a single, but actually made it into an album.
Probably Gone Away.
Okay. That would be by her, the Grammy winning album.
Gone Away, and then also the record that's on the A+ project, Pride Over Me.
Okay. So real quick, your five favorite albums.
Ooh, Jesus. I would have to say Songs in the Key of Life.
Okay.
Robert Glasper, Black Radio.
Okay.
Black Radio, I think it's called. Reality Show, Jasmine Sullivan.
Okay.
Thriller, Michael Jackson.
Sure.
Full Moon, Brandy.
Yes! That till this day is my favorite album. Till this day, that's my favorite album.
Whew, that was hard.
Yeah. That album is like a classic. I don't think anybody understands that album. The lyrics, the everything, just everything about it. Melodies, so dope.
The chords, the background, vocal production, all of it. It's all glorious.
So what's next? I mean, I know you got the What I Know that you're working on and that you have going for yourself, and you've opened that up to anybody that is interested in working with you. But what else is in the pipeline for Antea or A+, for that matter?
Well, of course, like you said, teach what I know. That is always a constant thing. Once we are allowed to be in groups again, I have a private studio here in Atlanta where I do in-person lessons, but virtual is available. Also, I'm doing a masterclass in Chicago called Maps for Music. That is going to be starting back up in August, I believe. So I'll be in Chicago once a week doing the masterclass there. So go to mapsformusic.com. And for A+, you know, we are still trucking along, signing Universal, trying to write records, finding ourselves as individual writers, finding ourselves, what it looks like together. You know, it's always an ongoing thing with A+.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dope. This kind of reminds me like the Braxton sisters, because they kind of like had some challenges coming up with an album as sisters. Do you guys have that same sort of challenge as well as sisters?
No.
No?
It was the question, is there an album for the three of us?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm in Atlanta and Nisha's in Detroit and Angela is on the East Coast. But would the three of us love to do it? I think we've come to a place where we all collectively agree that would be awesome to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Have we started? No, because all of us, Angela's working on music. Obviously, she's doing film and TV. Anisha's working on a project, really honing in on her writing. I'm doing Teach What I Know, vocal training here. So we're kind of like, but would a album or a song be something fun that we would love to do? I think so. I would love to.
I think everybody would. Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be awesome.
We're almost wrapping up. We got 4 minutes. What else do you want to tell the viewers? What do you want to share? What else do you want to say before we close off?
It's Maps for Music. Maps number 4 music.
Number 4. And you guys can go on. You guys can go on Antea's Instagram, and all the information is there. You guys slide into her DMs, ask her these questions. She's available to talk to you guys.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the main thing would be just Teach What I Know. The reason why I named this company Teach What I Know is because I have experienced so much in my life, personally and in the music industry. And not only do I coach voices, or I coach, songwriters or people who are, wanting to do music business. I've always acted as a mentor to every client, every student that I have, because it's not just about the vocal technique. It's not just about the songwriting technique. It's about your life. Because when you're creative, it all doubles down on each other. So it is my pleasure to help people. I love it so much. So I really want you guys to visit the website, teachwhatiknow.com, and see if we can work together. Get on the calendar and let's see what's up,
Dope. That's awesome. Guys, this has been awesome. Like this interview, I'm sure, has touched a lot of people. I know this was a very important interview for me, because I am a music head. I've been, doing the music thing for a long time, and I'm sure everyone can relate to how important music is. And I've always looked up to you guys as far as your work, and admired your work and your body of work, and just
I appreciate that.
All the things that you guys do collectively and individually. I follow, I listen, I watch, I download. I'm all about supporting, because I know the struggle.
Yeah.
But I also know how much music connects everybody.
Right.
And so you guys have such a great catalog, such a great body of work, such an inspiring journey. And I'm sure that those who have just kind of learned about you are also inspired, I hope. And it was just awesome having you on Life, Love, and Lyrics. This podcast will be up for another 24 hours. I will also be posting it on YouTube, so you guys will have it forever and ever.
Nice.
And I hope that we can remain in touch, and keep up with what projects you have in the future. Anything that you want to plug and share, let me know, and I can definitely put it out there, and spread that as well for you guys. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get the Birchett sisters together, or one live, and we can.
That would, you said one night only. that would be awesome. Let's see what happens.
Fingers crossed. Dope. Yeah. Thanks again. I appreciate your time. Many blessings to you. Stay safe. Keep working on yourself. As empaths, it's very challenging. So I applaud you for sharing that story. It's it means a lot, because a lot of people, it's very difficult for them to talk about that. Yeah. Especially even as a guy, going through narcissistic abuse and learning about self and empathy and healing and self-love. Like, it takes a lot, and it's constant work. Yeah.
Well, I applaud you for doing the work. It's important to, especially now, to survive in what the world is. It's important to be able to ground yourself, know yourself, heal yourself.
For sure. For sure. Important. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for being here, guys. Okay, we're going to leave you guys out with the backup track by Beyonce, written by Antea and Anisha. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.